anti-ligature versus reduced ligature. There is a difference. Plus, anti-ligature or reduced ligature, if adapted or interfered with in some way, might now not be either. So how do you know? And for example, you have a collapsible rail installed by the manufacturer, and you've got all the paperwork saying it's a collapsible rail and it's going to collapse with 5 kilograms of weight on it. It's going to collapse. Now at some point thereafter you have your in-house estates and facilities people come along and they take this rail down in order to do some decorating. They then put the rail up themselves. Now these decorators have had no instruction in relation to anti-ligature installations, but they put the items up. They then decide while they're putting them up to put some good strong screws in so that it's going to be, you know, nice and firm. Now straight away the fact they've used screws which are not the authorised screws by the by the manufacturer, it's no longer an anti-ligature device. And chances are now if somebody attempts to ligature on this rail, it's not going to collapse, so it's not going to do the job that it did. So your staff then conducting an audit might look at this rail and say that's one of those anti-ligature rails, you know, it's got the details shown on it, so that's fine, tick. No, you can't just accept that because it's there that it's right. You need to be checking things like the screws. You also need to do weight testing as well on these things. So you need the manufacturer's instructions, and you need to see what testing to do when and how and with whom. And it might be as part of the conditions of purchase that you have to have somebody from the supplier be present when the drops are done, when the weight testing is done. Now also weight testing should never just be done straight down. You need to do different angles and think about how a service user could get into different positions and apply weight to this, so at different angles and test it. But again, look at the documentation. So if you're getting anti-ligature products, my advice to you would be, at the very least, scan in the documentation that comes from the manufacturer so that you've got a hard copy on your records to then be able to download and give to people, and as part of the audits that those auditors are aware of what all the materials are, and then when they're looking at things they've got access to the documentation and they can look and see, like, what do we need to do, what do we need to be checking for, you know, when were the discs last changed in this item, and where's the audit trail to show when they were changed, because there are maintenance aspects that are required with your anti-ligature products in order to keep them in effective and efficient condition. Now another example for is let's say a collapsible hook. So we've got a anti-ligature, reduced ligature coat hook that's been put up, and the idea is that this hook is going to collapse at 5 kilograms of weight. But what the service user does is they get some strong, like, gaffer tape and tie it around in order to maintain its condition so that it can hold more product. Now straight away that anti-ligature product is no longer an anti-ligature product because it's been adapted by the service user. So as an auditor, your firm, your organisation needs to know exactly what you're going to do now about this. And my advice to you is there's got to be an immediate reporting facility to say, right, this is an adaptation, an unauthorised adaptation. It's now created a high-risk ligature anchor point. What are the mitigations that we can do, like, immediately? And ideally it's going to need to be removed and a replacement put in. But what can be done in the short term? Is it possible to move the person to a separate room while it's done? But only you will know what the feasibility of all of this is. But you can't then just have staff marking down that this has happened but then do nothing with it. So the audits then need to be scanned into some online folder that you need to keep, because it could be several years later when the legal teams are then asking for all your previous audits. So get them done, get them scanned in, make sure that they're of a decent evidential value, and if staff are submitting their audits and risk assessments and they're not evidenced and they're of poor quality, then get them sent back and get them adjusted so that they are good enough, so that you as an organisation in a 2, 3, 5 years time can pull those out and go, yeah, this is what they've said, this is the picture that goes with it, rather than you having to go to court representing your organisation and explain this risk assessment that somebody did 3 or 4 years earlier going, oh. So hopefully that makes sense.